We know you've been waiting. The wait is over.
The wait is over.
For the first episode of Ridiculously Wrong Radio.
With your hosts, Damon and Jake, coming now. Ridiculously Wrong Radio. So we decided, we didn't know what the first show should be, but we thought, since we're gentlemen.
We are gentlemen.
It should be ladies first.
But anal after. Say again? Ladies first, bitches. I thought it was bitches first. Oh, that's right. We're gentlemen. Ladies first.
I think that this podcast it's really going to show people how gentlemanly we are.
I believe that is true. Because underneath our dark layer of mysteriousness, we're pretty much good guys. We like puppies and puppy breath and flowers. And
it's true.
It is true, dude.
I like cute things.
Yeah, me too, dude.
It's important to note that the truth is beyond my feelings. Listen, I'm a highly emotional guy. I'm highly complex, bro. I cry when I watch Wife Swap.
What?
Oh, yeah.
Wow. Whoa. Dude.
You ever watched it?
Don't talk to me.
Listen, bro. Let me defend myself here about Wife Swap.
You don't have to. I'm just kidding.
Wife Swap is the same as all other reality TV shows. It doesn't matter if it's, hotel nightmares, kitchen nightmares, whatever it is. They follow the same structure.
Right.
It's a person who's fucked up, can't accept that they're fucked up, comes face to face with the fact that they're fucked up,
right?
Rejects that they're fucked up,
right?
Okay. And then eventually learns to accept that they're fucked up and changes. That's the process. It doesn't matter what the show is. They're following that skeleton. It's a redemptive process.
Right.
And because I recognize that process is the meaning of life, I get emotional watching people go through that process. So it's like, yeah, it's Makes a joke. I say, oh, I cry at Wife Swap. It's true. By the way, I do.
Yeah, that's cool, dude. I accept you.
I really opened myself up here.
You did, dude.
I'm making myself vulnerable. It would be a shame if all the people on the internet took that and exploited that vulnerability. That wouldn't be very inclusive or feminist. Okay, let's talk about feminists.
Who?
Feminists.
Dog-faced mongrels.
Yeah.
Every time Damon says feminist, I'm going to say dog-faced mongrels.
Okay,
How did the feminist movement start?
I'll tell you the story.
If they're going to tell me a Rosie the Riveter, I don't want to hear it.
Well, that's part of it.
Right, okay.
We're talking about butch lesbian, armpit hair feminist.
But you can have gorgeous feminists as well.
That's true.
Yeah.
The hot ones usually are not man haters.
Feminists. In
the beginning, it was that the men went to war, and so the women had to take over the factory jobs. So they made this propaganda meme called Rosie the Riveter, and it was, a woman with a strong muscle, and it said, you can do it. And it basically meant you can do the job of the man. You could be like men. This was the flaw from feminism early on, because equality doesn't mean sameness. You don't have to be like men to be equal to men. You could be equal and opposite. You could be feminine and still equal to men. But because they had to work in the factories, they created Rosie the Riveter. This whole concept became the equality of women is to become like men. And that's why to this day you have, this movement of feminism even now says if you want to be like men, you have to be CEOs and you have to stop being housewives and stop being subservient to men because you have to become like the man. And modern feminism is now even saying you have to surpass the man. You have to displace the man.
I'll say it like I always said. If that's what they truly want, if they want that kind of power, then you can't have both. You can't want us to take care of you and then also want to beat us down to the point where we're not men anymore. You can't have it fucking both ways. And that's what so many of them do. They all want to display this power that they have. They always come running to us for the last of help because in the end, they cannot do it by themselves.
Well, the majority of them are sexually rejected by men typically. If you take a handful of feminists, you're going to have women who are typically rejected sexually by men. So what are the chances that the hashtag MeToo movement has 90% of women who've all been sexually assaulted or raped?
I've been raped many fucking times, dude, and I'm not going to say anything else about it.
And I've never complained once.
No. That's not even, we don't even have to put that in a podcast. I know you'll delete that out.
No, I won't.
Yes, you will.
I'm putting this in.
Whatever. You make a move. You get closer to her. She comes closer to you. You can move forward on me, so you move forward from there. And you just keep taking your steps and getting what you can get. And then if they stop you, then you stop.
The truth is they all these people are literally sexually dysfunctional.
That's exactly
And
what the
they
fucking
don't
problem
know
is,
what
dude.
normal sex is like. I wonder if part of it is because like people have been meeting each other on these like social media apps and they're not actually meeting each other in real life and having actual
Absolutely, dude.
interactions. They're literally deciding before they talk to somebody if they're consenting before they even say hi.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah, it's
That's
ridiculous.
not natural.
It's not natural. Yeah, I definitely have always thought about social media being a problem for the way society's interacting with each other.
Well, it's like it seems obvious. It's like in a normal sexual experience, you're not asking every step of the way.
Of course not.
If somebody
You try something and
if
the
they
other
don't
person
like it,
shows resistance,
right.
you pull away.
Exactly. You don't stop and you go, "Excuse me, babe, can I stick my finger in your butt now?"
I'll make a move. If you do not respond, I'll wait to see if you don't make a move. I might make another move, and if for surely you don't do it, then I know, okay. I'm not. Now we're talking about levels of, I don't know. Men, chicks don't usually say no, though. They always just
I know,
say yes.
but I think that it is a common thing that like a guy will do something that weirds the girl out, and then she'll be uncomfortable about it, and she'll say, "I was victimized because he, put his finger in my butt or something."
That is, though.
I think
maybe in celebrity worlds.
No, dude. I think that's the majority of the MeToo movement. I'm not saying that Harvey Weinstein isn't a scumbag. He is certainly a creepy, nasty guy. I mean, he's trading, career advancement.
Forever.
I don't know if I'd say that, dude.
It's an illegal act by a human being to fucking have that much power and prey on people that are weak because of your power. That's illegal, bro. And if it's not, it should be, because that's just not a humanistic.
Okay, but when you look when you look at this picture of all of these women who are
disgusted by them.
Hold on, but these women are accusing him of raping them,
right?
And you're seeing pictures of them all over him,
right?
And you think that he raped them?
I think if they say I believe their stories for sure.
Why?
He looks like a fucking sleaze, the sleaziest.
You believe their stories because he looks like a sleaze?
No, I believe their stories because of the shit I've read. There's just too many cases with similar.
Can you give me an example?
I saw Ashley Judd speaking in an interview about her ordeal.
No, what did she say?
That he was very, very fucking aggressive, and he used his power over her to get what he wanted.
So let me tell you a couple of the allegations. In one of the allegations, he is having drinks with one of these women. He invites them back to his hotel. She comes inside. He asks the woman to give her a massage or to watch him take a shower. She ends up massaging him. They end up having sex.
Like a good time, right?
Okay. And now she claims that she's been victimized, not to mention that after this happened, she might have felt a little weird about it. I'm sure she did. But after this...
But why? That seemed pretty...
Okay. After this, she got major movie roles. She became a big movie star. She got lots of money. And then 15 years later, she comes out and says, he raped me. Give me a fucking break.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I can be completely against this guy and also be completely against these women if I don't think they're being legitimate. I don't have no problem.
Okay, well, I'm not defending Harvey Weinstein, but I don't think that these women should pretend to be victimized by an experience that they walked into willingly. Boo-hoo, you found the golden dick. You know who else would suck a golden dick? You would. Me too. Hashtag me too. And then people will totally misrepresent what I said. For example, this guy says, Damon, quotes, and he puts it in quotes. I didn't say this.
Right.
If you go into a hotel room, you agree to whatever happens in that room. I never said if you go into a hotel room, you agree with whatever happens in the room. I said that if you willingly go into somebody's hotel room alone at night, then you know what's going down. Yes, you know what he's interested in.
Absolutely.
So you're not going in expecting he's going to offer you coffee. Even if he says you want to come up for coffee.
And if you are that naive, then you need to go with your babysitter to your little meetings, because this is the world we live in, dude. But I don't know. I think it's borderline so unethical and unhumanistic that it should be illegal. Sure.
We should not legislate morality. It should not be against the law to be immoral. We live in a free country.
Yeah,
it's about freedom. It's about, well, who gets to decide what's moral? What some people think it's immoral to be transsexual. So
you have imaginary guidelines of what's immoral. People know what's right and what's wrong. You don't have, when you do something guilty.
There are people who are very convicted that it's wrong to be gay. So you can't just say, well, we have to start legislating morality, because then who gets to decide what's moral? There's some question about, there's a couple girls who claim that he raped them. There's a couple girls that claim he has been arrested for actual rape. They have accused him of actual rape.
Yeah. That guy's not getting off. They're making a case out of that guy. Everybody hates him at this point.
Okay, well, here's another question is, why is Harvey Weinstein taking the fall? I think there's something more here. I don't think that Harvey Weinstein was the only producer's dick that a lot of these women sucked. And why is he the only one that's being, taken down?
The top of the fucking...
No, I think it's something more. I think there probably something happened behind the scenes, and now he's being taken out. They're all part of, these networks of people who are all propping each other up, and who knows? He could have pissed the wrong person off, and now he's out.
You think like elite shit?
Yeah, they're all of course he's... But anyway, let me just say, just to finish up this topic, there are women who claim that he actually raped him. Now, I don't think that the claims say anything like he forcibly penetrated me, which I think should be the definition of rape. I don't think that the definition of rape should be anything less than that. If she's fighting you and you're forcing her,
well, if you're putting your hand down her pants and her vagina, that's rape.
Well, yeah. If you're, of course, yes. If you're holding someone down and you're molesting them, then yes, that's rape. But if you're with a person and you feel, you touch them in a way that they get uncomfortable with, and then you stop when you realize they're uncomfortable, then no, that's not rape.
Right. No.
It's an unwanted sexual advance.
Absolutely.
And that is not criminal.
Yeah, not at all. And if there's women that use that as their rape clause, and they're fucking cunts.
Right. Well, so my argument is that part of the problem here is that these women are loosening the definition of rape so broadly that a lot of these women that are coming out, they're claiming to be victimized by normal sexual experiences that just made them uncomfortable.
I don't know if they're using, but you have to know how deep do you really want to get with that, because maybe they're coming out and talking about their story, and somehow the media, because you know how the media does, they twist and turn everything, and then the rape word gets thrown out there. And maybe she was just talking about sexual abuse. Maybe he tried a little too hard, and that was their story. But the media could be portraying something that's,
Let me read you a couple actual accounts of these people, okay? This was a Boardwalk Empire star. She was in Boardwalk Empire. She accused Weinstein of raping her twice in New York in 2010. She says, the first time was after he offered her a ride home, and the second time was when he turned up uninvited at her apartment. She says, I did say no, and when he was on top of me, I said, I don't want to do this. Okay? So yes, I mean, if somebody's telling you stop, and you're continuing, then that's rape.
What an animal, too.
Okay?
He's all gross and fat and fucking, she's probably like, oh my God, get off me.
Okay, but now you have this other actress, okay, Sopranos actress, says that Weinstein forced himself into her apartment in New York in 1992 and raped her. She says, I was so ashamed of what happened, she told the New Yorker, and I fought, but still I was like, why did I open this door? He forced himself into her apartment.
Shoved his foot there when she started to close it.
Or something like that. She tried to get him out and he pushed his way in.
Right.
Okay?
I'm sure that happened.
Well, then, her quote says, I fought, but still I was like, why did I open that door? So what it sounds to me like is she let him in and she let this go down, even though within herself, she was fighting that this is what should happen. She allowed it to happen, and then she regrets the decision. And I think
that's not what I got from it. Say it again.
I was so ashamed of what happened, and I fought, but still I was like, why did I open that door? So what do you think she means when she says, and I fought? You think that means a fist fight?
No, I think that he was probably being very fucking aggressive, and she did what she could do to push him off.
Okay.
And before she knew it.
Well, what do you mean she did what she could do to push him off? Was she like, no, I don't really want to do this. I don't think so. Come on. And he was coming on and it didn't stop.
The fact that he showed up to her room and somehow got in, that makes me think that that's a fucking predator, dude. That's somebody that he wanted what he wanted. So he probably was very aggressive, took what he could. I don't think the value of how much she really fought is, what do you want her to do? Have blood skin under her nails? If she says no,
well, no. Don't get me wrong. If a woman says no, she doesn't have to fight with her fingernails. If a woman says no, I'm not into this, then she's not into it. But if a woman says no 4 times and then she consensually has sex with you, that's not rape. It's something that they say all the time, which is, no, as soon as the woman says no, then you better turn around and walk out the door, because if you convince her to have sex with you after she said no, then you've somehow raped her or coerced her into sex.
A woman's not gonna. Why would a woman bring up charges just based on I mean, you'd have to be a fucking malicious person. Something would have to happen to you for you to bring up charges that somebody raped you. That's like a serious thing.
So do you think that doesn't happen?
Yeah, of course.
I mean, the question is how many of those types of cases?
All a woman has to do is say you raped her and you're fucking going to jail.
Right.
Then they prove it.
Right.
Like, you're fucked.
And because women know that, they use it more often than feminists want to admit. My worry is that these women are using very embellished language. When she says the words, I fought and I wondered why I opened the door.
Could that mean she fought in her mind? I fought.
Right. And I think it probably does. I don't think that she fist fought with him. So she's using.
Yeah, no, I probably would agree.
She's using hyperbolic language and misrepresenting what actually happened.
And when all you do is look in the news and you see case after case after case, you start creating your own little fucking story in your head of maybe that did happen to me. Maybe I was uncomfortable. Right. I remember being uncomfortable. Well, right. If I was uncomfortable, maybe I was. You know what? I think I remember him pushing me. Oh my God, I was raped.
So women are being convinced that they were victimized when they may have had an uncomfortable sexual experience, right?
Yeah, but I don't know how they've gotten that power, because we could easily take it back, and just say, listen, you weren't fucking raped. And, we're trying to be dominant. We want you. We fucking desire you, or we want what we want. We're fucking lions, and this is how the nature of the world works. We're trying to get our woman. It's like fucking lions do, bro. They fight for it, and we have to fight them for it because they play so many games.
Yeah, well, one thing to note is that in human society, women have the choice of mates. And so men are the ones that are competing for mates.
I don't know if that's exactly true.
Overwhelmingly, women choose, and this is not just in human populations either. In most animal populations, the males are the ones, for example, male peacocks are highly decorated. Female peacocks are small and brown. And the reason for that is because the males are the ones that are competing. They're showing off for the females, because ultimately the females choose, am I going to fuck you or not? Even when a man is an alpha male and he can choose whoever he wants, ultimately she's the one who gets to decide yes or no, you're putting your dick in me.
Absolutely.
Okay, so females decide on sexual partners. So that creates an atmosphere where men are competing for sexual partners. And the act of convincing a woman to have sex with you is exactly the game. You have to convince a woman that you are good enough to be their mate. By the way you look, by the way you act, by the way you talk, by what kind of car you drive, whatever it is.
Fucking thing, dude.
So even if some of these women are claiming that Harvey Weinstein raped them, I still think that a lot of these women are not necessarily victimized by Harvey Weinstein. I think a lot of them, they sucked the golden dick and they would suck the golden dick again. But a lot of the things that women say that they're victimized when normal dudes try to do it, they want alphas to do it to them, dude. They want it.
Let me tell you what else is a fact. Most men, listen, unless you're like a guy who's really good looking and you get chicks all the time and it's not a problem for you getting chicks, most guys are desperate to get pussy. But women, I think, are sneaky, man. They'll have one night stands and they'll never fucking tell not even their best friend, because they feel like it's something emotional for them. For guys, it's not emotional. Bitches are way more fucking sneaky than guys ever will be. And I'll say, and that's the truth, bro. Most guys are basically stupid when it comes to relationships and women, because women are plotters, bro. They're evil, bro. They can be very fucking vindictive. Men aren't like that, bro. Women are fucking vindictive. That's a trait that only women have.
Women tend to be more emotional. They tend to fight emotionally more. They tend to be more conniving. They tend to be more manipulative. And, people will argue this, but there's a valid reason for it. Men, they compete physically. And because men compete physically, females have to find a way to compete that's not in a physical way. So they compensate by doing it mentally.
They need that dominance, man. They need to be fucking told where they're, and I'm not saying that in the wrong way. Like, man, I love independent chicks. I love chicks that have their own fucking agenda and they're doing their own thing. But in the end, we are stronger than you, and you need us for more reasons than I can count. And that's just the way it is.
If a woman can dominate a man, she's going to lose attraction to him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Why would she be attracted to somebody who she is dominant?
She might as well put a strap on and fuck him and be like...
Yeah, but they like that shit.
I know.
They like to feel what it's like to be the man. They have penis envy.
I guess I didn't think of it that way. I like her taking charge, bro. And chicks are like, I don't want to take charge. I'm like, sometimes... we want you to take charge for 5 minutes in the fucking bedroom. We want you to, they take over, bro. And they want to fuck you because that's what they want. Chicks don't understand the power of that.
Yeah, see, but there's a big difference between letting the woman take like the dominant position than like you're letting her fuck your ass. I'm pretty sure like if you let a woman fuck your ass, that's it. You're the bitch now.
I mean, I wouldn't do it, but and even chicks will say, "Oh, it would turn me on." And as much as you want to believe that, you just say to yourself, "No, this is just not happening. I can't give up that last thread of my dominance,
dignity."
You're with a woman, so technically, whatever is happening, it's not gay because you're with a woman. But
I don't know. If you're letting your woman fuck you in the ass, then you're the bitch, I think. Like when they have sex, it's more emotionally based than it is for men. I think part of the reason for that is because they're the ones who are being penetrated. If a woman's fucking you in the ass, she's not respecting you.
You know, in one manner, I completely agree with that. But then in the other manner, a gorgeous woman with an amazing body is fucking you in the ass.
You agreed that, you know, if a woman can dominate you, she's going to lose attraction to you. She's not gonna,
that's where the level of that comes into play.
Right. If she's fucking you in the ass, then how is she feeling about you as a man?
You know, when death is on the line, it would always be the man giving up for the woman. The woman wouldn't do that. So we understand your little plight of wanting to be equal and be the dominant one, but it's just not feasible. Do the math. It doesn't work out. Women cannot run the world.
Women are dominating in business CEO positions. I mean, more women graduate from college than men do.
1 out of every 6 American women has been the victim of an attempted or completed rape in her lifetime.
These statistics they're using, what is the definition of rape? That's the problem. I do not think that it is a common experience for an American woman to get raped. Question is, what is rape? You know, we're broadening the definition of rape so loosely that
is law broadening the definition, or is feminist?
Feminist, it's society that's doing it first and foremost.
So sooner or later, they'll push your agenda until laws are made.
Right.
The toughest stance on rape right now is what?
Well, it's already, you are unable to consent if you've been drinking alcohol. If you fuck a girl who's been drinking and then tomorrow she says you raped her, she was unable to consent legally because she had consumed drinks.
Her problem, not fucking mine. Why am I supposed to be responsible because somebody can't handle their fucking liquor but is telling me all night long they want to fuck me?
The narrative is that the man is the predator who's preying on the drunk woman who couldn't say no because she was drunk. It's like bullshit.
You can't be a fucking chick who wants to throw your weight of your pussy around to get what you want and then throw the fucking rape card. Sorry, it doesn't work that way.
Why am I responsible for getting in a car and driving if I'm drunk?
Right.
And I'm not responsible for having sex. Like, why am I unable to make a decision? You know, and then they'll say, well, is there a line? Well, certainly there's a line. If you're
Bro, the line is when they tell you stop. Are you going to fuck a chick that's basically laying there unconscious? I won't.
No, of course not. It's disgusting.
So if you do, then that would border on rape, probably.
Right. People will say, well, what if you're blacked out? Because obviously if somebody's passed out, that's rape. If you have sex with a woman who's passed out, that's rape. She's unconscious. That's disgusting.
Okay, well, let's define that a little bit. What if you're fucking her and then she kind of dozes off? You don't know if
they're saying if you're having sex with a woman, she was so drunk that she passes out while you're fucking her, then you shouldn't have been fucking her in the first place.
Yeah, fuck that. I mean, listen, as a man, I'm not going to fuck somebody that's that fucked up. I'm obviously going to be very aware that this chick is not going to be able to fucking take what I'm going to give her. So that being said, most guys I don't think would fuck it anyway.
The problem is, where's the line? Obviously, if a woman's passed out,
the line is when she's not talking, when her eyes are closed.
Okay, so you're saying the line is unconsciousness, passed out.
Yeah, but if I'm fucking her and she's in heaven and then all of a sudden she passes out, my response would probably be like, babe, what the fuck? Are you alive? Are you? And then she's like, I'm like, all right, we're done.
Yeah, of course. How do you know when somebody's... First of all, let me state this. I have never in my life been blackout drunk. And I have been so drunk that I was puking on myself.
I have. Yeah.
Like, you've been so drunk that you can't remember the whole night?
Yeah, dude.
No, I've never.
Fuck. When I was young, bro, many nights like that where you
on
drink...
only alcohol?
Fuck yeah, dude.
Dude, have you ever taken an Ambien? Bro. Okay, Ambien, you black out completely. You cannot remember... Yeah. You'll wake up the next day and there's like food in the oven still cooking 12 hours later.
Right.
Okay, you were totally blacked out. You had no consciousness even though you were awake walking around. But I've never been that blackout on alcohol.
Have,
really?
Yeah.
Okay, so then the question is it rape if you fuck a girl who's blacked out? But I mean, imagine that. You're at a party, there's a girl's trash, and she's all over you. She's like, fuck yeah, I want this.
Right.
And then you fuck her and that's rape? Bullshit.
What do you mean you fuck her and that's rape? Why would that all of a sudden?
Because she's blacked out. They want to define the line of rape as you're blacked out. It's if you're blacked out, you can't consent at all, is their point.
So they're in the bedroom kissing, she blacks out, and then he gets it out.
What is it? See, I don't buy that. That concept right there, you're kissing and then she blacks out. Like there's this moment where all of a sudden you're like, how do you define where blackout drunk is? I mean, anybody could just say I was blacked out. What is being blacked out? How do you quantify that? How would you test that to determine they were actually blacked out? In my mind, if your body is limp, then you're way beyond the point of having sex.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's common that the more drunk you get, the more promiscuous you get. And I don't think there should be anything wrong with somebody who wants to get laid because they got a bit drunk. That's normal.
How about that? How about if you can't remember it?
Well, that's the point. That's what is blackout.
Right.
If you can't remember it, then were you able to consent?
And then why, if you have no inclination of what that took place, how dare you fucking wake up in the morning and say I was raped?
Well, if you got blacked out and got in a car and hit somebody, you'd go to prison for the rest of your life. You're responsible for that decision. So how is it that you're not responsible for making the decision to have sex because you got too drunk?
Right.
You're still responsible for the decisions you make, no matter how drunk you get.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like, why is there even any debate on that? Are people debating that?
Yes, dude, I'm telling you, the law is already that if you've had anything to drink, you can't consent.
For males too?
Yeah, but it's like they have framed this in a way that like women don't do this. Women don't prey on drunk men. Women don't.
Bullshit,
Yeah,
bro.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Women get drunk and they get crazy. What is it that makes you all of a sudden not responsible for your behavior? The god Dionysus, the Greek god, is the god of wine, intoxication, and sex. So even back that far, there was this connection between intoxication and sex. So I'm going to tell you a story about a sexual experience that I had, and I want you to tell me if I was raped.
I'm scared.
Yeah, it's a strange story. So I was in Peru. I was couch surfing. Couch surfing, right? It's like locals will offer a couch or a room to people who are traveling for free. I was with a dude that I was traveling with and a girl. You know, I wrote the email. It's me and these two people, and we want to come and stay with you.
Right.
I got a response back immediately saying, yes, please come. And now reading their couch surfing page, I noticed, first of all, they were native. They ran a school. It was a husband and a wife.
Huh.
And reading their profile on couch surfing, I was getting weird vibes. You know, they were talking about like sacred sexuality and
on their page?
On the page. So to be honest, I knew what was going down. I had a feeling and I remember being nervous about it.
Really?
Yeah. Now, when we finally got there, it was just me and the male friend. The female friend that we were with had gone her separate ways. She was in the town, but wasn't going to stay with us at the couch surfing house. The guy was really upset. He wanted to go look for her in the town.
So you showed up to his house and he's like, I gotta go.
I want to go find her. I want her to come. I want her to come.
You're like, all right, dude, chill.
Exactly.
Right.
That's how I was feeling.
Right.
So anyway, he couldn't find her. So that night he came back to the house. They start talking to us about sacred sexuality. And they're like, they're talking to us about their religion. They're preaching their spirituality. They're from a native tribe. Cool? Yeah, it was cool. Yeah. I have audio recording of like they were playing instruments, native instruments, and singing native, and it was like, that kind of weird, like, cool. So they're talking to us about all this sacred sexuality and they're playing this music. All of a sudden she lights up a joint and she starts blowing us shotguns with her mouth.
Right.
She's like leaning over. She's like kissing us.
Time.
Yeah, it was cool. She's blowing the smoke in her mouth.
So the guy starts trying and you're like, yo, dude.
Well, it became clear later why he wanted our female friend to be there so bad. I mean, if we would have let them, they would have had a full-blown orgy with us, okay?
Gotcha.
So basically, she's blowing shotguns or whatever. We all go outside. We're looking at the stars. And then she grabs my arm and she's like taking me inside. So now the husband is outside with my friend.
Right.
And she takes me inside. And it was really, really strange and uncomfortable experience because she spoke barely no English. The husband spoke English.
Sounds like the perfect fucking.
Yeah. She's asking me if I have a condom. So I'm like fucking digging in my bag for a condom, my dirty ass fucking bag.
Right.
So anyway, I end up having sex with this woman.
Right.
Okay? She's a native. As we're having sex, she's chanting. Weird.
She's a Peruvian.
Yeah. Native Peruvian woman. Like probably 40s.
Right.
So she's chanting. The point is that this experience was somewhat uncomfortable. It was just a bizarre situation. Her husband's sitting outside.
But you know what's weird? It's bizarre to you. absolutely fucking normal to them.
Well, wait a minute. Let me go further. Part of the reason why it was uncomfortable is that I recognize that they lured us in. We weren't the first people this had happened to.
Oh yeah, for sure.
She wasn't just having sex. She was like a sex vampire. You know, she's like harvesting my energy through the sexual experience.
That level.
Well, that's what level they're at. Okay. When this isn't an argument about that there's such thing as sexual energy or life force or who knows. But they believe it. You know, that's what they were talking about, sacred sexuality and, you know, the energy that comes together and you can harness that energy and okay, whatever. That's what they do.
That's what they were talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they lure people in to like harvest their life force through sex. That's what it was feeling like.
Did you feel empty when you left? Like drained?
Yeah, well, I remember after the experience, I was jokingly saying to people that that's what happened. I was saying, you know, that she's a sexual vampire and she took my life force. Like that's what it felt like. It wasn't just a happenstance experience. Right. They literally lured us in. Yeah, I felt violated to some extent. Yeah. Now, look, I was like a 25-year-old dude. I was happy to have had sex, but there's no question that at the time I felt violated. I felt like she took advantage of me.
Just fill you in a little secret.
Yeah.
You know how many times I've been violated, dude?
Okay, but that's part of the point.
Yeah.
So
it's all good.
Exactly. People want to make the argument that maybe I was raped if I felt violated. What does that matter? Is that the line? Is that the definition of rape?
No, they would be raped if they were to progress after the person said no.
So I agree. I think that rape is if somebody's persisting past somebody's will. So somebody has made it clear that they don't want to do this and then you are forcing them to do that.
Right.
That's rape. See, the problem is that I could have had that experience that I told you in Peru and it's rape if I felt violated and it's not rape if I enjoyed it.
Right.
That's bullshit. That means that it has nothing to do with the objectivity of the experience. It has to do with how I felt about the experience. And part of the problem with it's how you feel about the experience is that women are being taught to feel violated more and more from more normal sexual experiences. I mean, give me a break. You know, I've been in a lot of uncomfortable sexual situations. You know, a girl doesn't smell good or she's got fucking weird feet, or I could give you 100 examples of like situations I've been in where it was like weird. A lot of times sex can be uncomfortable. For fuck's sake, it's why we drink.
Yeah, dude, listen. I've been doing this for a long fucking time. Porn star sex my whole life. Even there's times that I do and a chick will just say something weird or like, you just know that for whatever reason, she's just not into it at that moment. Then they're like, oh, you don't ever make passes at me. You don't ever advance on me. Yeah, dude, you throw too many fucking roadblocks up. So these women, man, you're fucked up, bro. Get your shit together. You want to fuck us? That's fine. We don't fucking need you. Go be with all your fucking machines and girls. We don't fucking need you. We don't fucking need you. We got fucking tool cases and tools from Home Depot. We don't need you. We could go build shit. How fucking manly was that? No, but it's true, man. I mean, listen, as soon as a woman thinks you need her, you're putty, dude. You women are fucked up. You need your medication. You need to fucking get your shit straight, and you need to stop fucking blaming men for every single problem you have. Fucking, I know those ladies, bro. I meet them every day when I'm working. They're fucking cat women. If I meet a woman and she has 3 cats, I'm out the fucking door. You know what I'm saying? That is the fucking limit, dude. 2, I'll let you slide because maybe one was an indoor cat and maybe one showed up because he smelled food outside your house and you felt guilty in keeping him. But if you got 3 cats, that's borderline fucking, you ain't got no fucking man. And you got a dildo in your bottom fucking drawer that barely gets used. Yeah, well, you can take that to the bank. I'm so rude. I don't give a fuck sometimes. You know what? Just speaking as it is. I'm speaking the truth. You want to get picked up at a bar, but you can't have the man come up strong on you because he's too aggressive. Oh, what the fuck? We have to be aggressive. How the fuck else are we going to get you first to get the border in front of your face down that you've already had because you hate men? This is the whole problem. Women do not want weak men. Society has created weak men. Society has created stronger women. So now we're at the point where women will not take men's shit. They will throw you to the fucking curb and fucking tell you the way it is.
You know, even homosexuality. Because I don't have any problem with people being homosexual. I also don't have a problem with people who shit on each other, even though I think it's fucking disgusting. You know, I mean, okay, so there's weird fucking people who like that. I don't think people should have parades I don't think that you should take a particular pride in your choice of sexual friction, period. You know, I don't care what you like sexually.
Yeah.
Why does that have to be the centerpiece of your personality, of your persona? Is what kind of sexual friction you like most?
Everybody should be able to promote what they want. As long as it's in a healthy, non-violent way, you should be able to have parades and march. Why? If somebody else can.
I mean, that's just a demon transsexual reading a book to your children. You know, I mean.
Fucking exactly what that is. A demon transsexual.
There's nothing wrong with her being a demon transsexual.
Right.
Drag queen. That's fine. What I think is wrong is that this library has a program where they actually go out and get drag queens to come and read books to kids. What is the point of that? What are they trying to teach to the children? To accept this lifestyle, which is totally out of the ordinary.
But what kind of parent would take their child to that?
Crazy fucking liberal parents.
Really?
Jake, you know, when I was a kid, I have pictures of me and my mom's high heels.
Yeah.
Imagine if my mom was a liberal who lived today and she sat me down and she was like, Damon, do you feel like a girl, or do you like these shoes? And, you know, like convinced me that I was supposed to be a girl or some
pretty?
shit.
They are pretty. I don't know. I kind of like
it's
them.
okay if you feel more
We'll
like
get
a
you
girl,
another pair that
then
fits
it's
you
okay.
better.
Yeah.
We'll, you know,
Okay.
we'll take you shopping and we'll get you whatever you feel makes you feel comfortable.
Yes, that's what's happening.
You know.
Look, there's a documentary online that I watched about a summer camp for transgender kids, and the parents
I
go.
gotta see that.
Oh, you really should. The parents took these kids to this summer camp. You know, the parents go and the parents participate. You know, the parents have their own interaction with other parents who have transgender kids, you know, and parents in this documentary were questioning, I don't know if this was the right thing. I don't know for sure that this is really what they wanted, or if we're pushing them into this. You know, there's a question, if you're being honest.
I think you just let nature run its course. You just try to watch, and you don't offer opinions. You don't offer advice.
First of all, children naturally are not thinking about sexuality in prepubescence.
Yeah. I've
So-
read stories where people that are gay said, I knew I was gay when I was 4. They do think about it.
Almost all the time, if a prepubescent child is exhibiting sexual behavior, it's because they're victims of sexual abuse. They're copying the behavior. It's not natural for a prepubescent child to even think about sex. You don't have the hormones in your body to think about sex. You don't know about it. You wouldn't even know the concept unless somebody told it to you, first of all.
I agree with that.
So it's like, what are we teaching? We have people who they're literally supporting teaching children about consent.
I think the population of kids that are like that is so small that it's nothing to even worry about. I mean,
Okay, well, this is true. That in actuality, the population of transgender people is like 2% of the population, which is like, why the fuck do we need to like make it such a big deal at all? It's like, yes, we can accept these people as a minority.
On a level of what it really is. I think it's really transgender is more just the allowance of letting me be who I want to be, how I want to be, how I feel like I am, without any fucking opinions from anybody else. Let me be who I want to be.
But first of all, I can be against you trying to teach children about transsexualism and not be against transsexualism. You understand?
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely. That's how I am. Are you teaching, or are you asking your son, do you feel good in the pink slippers? So that's
coercion.
Yeah.
That happens way more.
If your kid is exhibiting behavior that's fucking bizarre, that's borderline female and male, if your child is truly displaying that, and you can see that the kid comes out of his room in a dress, and you're like, okay, this is where we're at today. I don't think, I think you just kind of got to ride that wave.
Do you know who Jazz is?
Yeah.
Jazz is, right, she's a transsexual child. She was a teenager who, I think as a young kid, even before teenager, she transitioned. And she is, I think now in high school or something. She wants to have sexual reassignment surgery, and she's unable to because they gave her puberty blockers to stop male puberty. And now her penis is too small to create a vagina out of. So she will forever have a prepubescent penis and remain a woman. It is a natural process for people when they're prepubescent and teenagers to try and figure out who they are. And typically we do that by copying lots of different trends and lots of other people. You know, we try different styles.
Yeah.
You know, you're emo or you're goth or, you know, you're into whatever the fad is at the time. Okay. Because you're trying to figure out who you are. I mean, imagine if in the 90s, all of the goth kids, imagine if the parents of all the goth kids told them that they were actually vampires on the inside and that they should, like, you know, sharpen their teeth so that they were like more like vampires. You know what I mean? Like, most people, they experiment with their identity and then they settle into what I call like the timeless human. You know, like the person who you actually are is not the clothes you wear, the style, or the way you talk. It's like the naked man who could like survive at any time in history. You know, it's not the dialect you speak or the language you talk. It's like, it's the raw you, you know. Literally in the documentary, there is a group of parents who sit around in a circle and they ask that question to each other. I'm not sure if I coerced them. If you go back 10 years, how many kids do you think were transgender? None. So this is the bottom line. It's become a popular cultural trend. And all of a sudden we have a bunch of kids who are transgender. And then the argument is, well, it's not because the parents are convincing them, even though it happens to be the parents' cultural trend.
Why is that wrong in the grand scheme of things of our journey of who we are as humans and evolution?
Okay.
So, you know,
okay. No, that's a good.
More people become more transgender, and that's okay.
No, I disagree. I think that the point of what we're supposed to be doing here is learning how to accept what we are. And this is actually mortifying. It's mortifying being human. If we're actually spirits trapped inside of a monkey body, that's terrifying. And we have to come to grips with being human. We have to cope with the fact that we're going to die, and the fact that we get old, and the fact that we get sick and our bodies hurt. We have to cope with that. So of course it's easier to say to yourself, oh, you can create a persona that's not real that makes you more comfortable. But is that truth? The question is truth important?
But that's part of the...
Okay, let me ask this question. Do you believe in ideals? Do you believe that there's like an ideal man that men should try to be? What does it mean to be a man to you? I mean, taking care of your family, you know, the point is there an ideal that we're supposed to strive for? Now, what's an ideal family?
Yeah. Someone that stays together and loves each other and supports each other.
Is it important to have a mother and a father involved?
Versus what? 2 men or 2 women? Or
sure.
I think most of those people are very fucking loving to their kids. I would bet 95% of same-sex couples are probably better parents than fucking regular parents. I guarantee there's more love in that household.
Okay, let me tell you why I care. I think that there's you know, masculine and feminine energy in the world, and it takes a combination of the masculine and the feminine energy to create reality, right? You know, they call Earth Mother Earth, right? Father God is like a force. It's a non-manifest force. And then Mother Earth is the female energy, the physical female form. So I think that there's something more significant than it's just 2 people having sex or in love with each other. I think when you have a family, when you have a male and a female who are having sex to create a human, that there's something profoundly spiritual, that you are reflecting the whole by creating this masculine and feminine circuit that creates new life. I think there's something very profound, spiritually profound about that. And I think when you see homosexual people, a lot of times you'll notice that it'll be a masculine and a feminine people will take on those roles. It'll be a more masculine and a feminine partner, right? Because even in a homosexual relationship, there's something natural about trying to, you know, create that full circuit.
Even lesbians, bro, some of them are gorgeous and some of them are butch. And you could see a butch and a gorgeous girl together, because I've seen it on Instagram, and it's like, where does that brain?
Well, that's more of what I'm talking about. You know, you're trying to create a circuit. If you have a female who's more masculine, usually she's going to be attracted to more feminine qualities, and that's why she wants to be with a woman.
You ever see 2 butch chicks together? It's very rare.
Very rare.
Yeah.
And, you know, people will make this argument that happens all the time. 2 masculine
men. I wonder
men.
how many things you can write down of different groups of people. Girls who like girls. Girls who like butches. Butches who like beautiful women.
Well, that's the point.
Just like fucking butch who likes male on the side. Butch who loves...
Exactly. The question is, should these all be new identities? should we create a name for all these categories, and then you should classify yourself as
I
that?
don't think
as an
anybody
identity?
should. I think you should just whatever. You're one class. We're all one. We're all human. And
Listen, the psychedelics have taught me to break down identity. What you think you are, you aren't. You know, let me give you this idea.
that's all we know.
That's true.
Yeah.
But if you lived forever, let's just say you lived for 1,000 years, how many generations, how many decades would it take before you realized that you are not the socially constructed persona that you played in any of those decades?
Yeah.
You know, you're the guy who lasted through them all. You know, you're not the accent that you used or the clothes that you wore or the way that you identified. You understand? You are not the way that you identified in your life. Yeah. What you are is beyond your ego. It's beyond your identity, beyond what you think you are. That's the whole spiritual game. So yes, part of the spiritual game is accept everybody. I accept you even if you don't accept yourself, but I encourage you to accept yourself, right? Obviously. Okay. I'm accepting that, yes, 2% of the society has these feelings where and this is ultimately what it is, their energetic expression is not matching up with their biological body. They feel feminine while their body's masculine, or vice versa. That's what's happening in the natural population. But when all of a sudden all of these kids are all of a sudden transgender, and you understand this isn't just a gender thing that's happening in society. Do you know what other kin are? Other kin are kids who are animals on the inside.
Oh my God, dude.
They're actually animals, Jake. They're like, you know, you say, oh, well, maybe they were born in the wrong body. They were a man who was supposed to be born in a woman's body. Well, does that happen in the animal kingdom? Does a dog ever get born in a cat's body by accident? Does a cat?
Know?
Yeah, well, everything is what it is.
Yeah.
And you can accept or reject what you are. No, a cat is never born in a dog's body. A dog is born in a dog's body. The mind of a dog is in the dog's body. You might be surprised to hear this. Iran, where it's illegal to be gay, Iran is number 1 in the world for sexual reassignment surgery.
No fucking way.
And the reason for that is because in Iran, it's illegal to be gay and it's accepted to be transgender. So if you're gay, you basically have sexual reassignment surgery in order to avoid prosecution for being gay.
Yeah, you could be a transgender where you're a man with a vagina and you still like men or women. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Everything is open right there. It's hard to classify.
But this is a good example of why I think this is all just about sexual preference. And it's not about any kind of objective identity. People are creating categories for their preferences. And all of a sudden there's millions of categories because everybody has different preferences.
But people are trapped in their bodies, bro, and they gotta live a very brutal life to come to grips with what they have to go through. So I think most people that are truly living that fucking life of what they're not sure who they are, that's a struggle, man. You have to give
but don't you think that that's a universal human experience? Not something that just trans people go through? I mean, everybody's trying to...
I'm not trying to figure out who I am.
You don't think so? You don't think that human beings, especially during their adolescent years...
Yeah, but I'm saying now as an adult.
Okay, well, but fine. So, once you get into an adult, you kind of settle into who you are.
So what do you think, most transgender people are young people?
No. I'm saying that it's natural for human beings to try and figure out who they are and to learn to accept who and what they are. It's actually mortifying being human, okay? It's traumatizing being human. We have to accept that we are mortal, that we will die, all of these things. Everybody experiences dysphoria, you know, everybody experiences discomfort in being human, discomfort in being themselves, and there's a spiritual process to accepting yourself. So I don't think rejecting yourself and insisting that you're something that you're not is the direction that we should be going.
Yourself. I think
if you're born with a man and you reject that you're a man and insist that you're a woman, you're not actually a woman. You're rejecting.
I think people are put in the wrong bodies, bro.
No, give me a fucking break. People are put in the wrong bodies. Okay.
So.
Okay, so could you be the wrong
Could you be a cat? Could you have a cat mind and accidentally born in a human?
Trying to get too deep on me right here.
No.
Sometimes boys they know they're in the wrong.
I don't think anybody's trapped in the wrong body. I think everybody is exactly who and what they are, and we have to accept that.
Okay, yeah. If you want to look at it that way, sure.
Do you know what body integrity identity disorder is?
Just tell me real quick.
So these are people who want to amputate an arm or a leg, or there's one woman who wanted to be blind. So, I mean, is she actually a blind person born in a body that was supposed to be blind, and it was an accident that she's not blind?
I don't know, but if this lady wants to be blind, she should fucking be blind.
Well,
she has every right to be what she wants to be. And I would never, and that goes, if we're comparing, then a lady who thinks she should be blind and who should have been born blind has the same exact right as somebody who thinks they should have been born a woman that was a man.
Well, I agree. I agree with that, but should we promote it?
Why not?
Should we normalize it?
Why not? That's what that fucking person wants to be blind. Why should anybody have any right to say
Because it's a mental disorder.
Let it be her mental disorder. Am I in charge of her life and I'm supposed to make decisions based on her life?
No, Jake. I'm asking as a culture if we should normalize mental illness or if we should try to help people who have mental illness get healthy.
What is the definition of mental illness? Dude, that's the first fucking thing.
Well, we could go deep into that discussion, but the bottom line is, if you think you're a cat, if you actually believe, I mean, let's talk about this. My grandmother right now has dementia. She's seeing things that aren't there. So there are people who have mental disorders, literally.
I don't think a 3-year-old who's figuring out whether he should be a boy or girl has mental disorder.
What 3-year-old is trying to figure out whether they should be a boy or girl?
You fucking go on these videos and you watch kids talk about when they fucking knew that they were gay, and a lot of them will say, I knew at 4 years old. I knew at 5 years old. Yes, dude.
I know that they say that.
Okay, well then that's for a 3-year-old kid to even comprehend that is pretty fucking deep, dude.
You never hear 3-year-olds say it. You hear adults go, "Yeah, I knew since I was a kid."
Okay, well, how big? Because probably couldn't.
Because I think everybody as a kid has weird questions like that, and then if you grow up to be trans, then you're like, "Yeah, I remember having questions like that," like everybody did.
But that's a real reality, dude.
I know it is. I'm not rejecting that it's a real reality. Would you want to teach your kids to be trans?
No, but if my kid. If I was raising a boy and he came home and I came home from work and he was in a fucking dress playing with his Barbies and saying, "Look, Dad, how happy I am," I'd be like, "That's very fucking interesting, son."
But that's first of all, that concept that you just said, "Look how happy I am," is totally
I know it
off
is.
the wall.
But
even these people who go through this, it's like the worst experience of their life. They go through trauma throughout their life.
For a parent to say to a little kid who's a boy who's dressing up as a girl and wants to play girl games, you think it's wrong for a parent to say, "What's going on?" Like delve into that. You just want to deny it and say no.
No. I don't want parents to encourage their kids down a path that they wouldn't otherwise go down.
It's not always encouraging. It's asking questions.
Okay, but you are aware, for example, of the process that happens lots of times in police departments where they like bait somebody into. Okay, so I think that's a real thing. It's not even necessarily that cops are doing it consciously all the time. The way that they're asking questions is like leading people down a certain direction.
Right. I think sooner or later our brain takes over and does what it wants to do. And as far as those gay thoughts being planted in his head or whatever fucking you're talking about, they will slowly dissipate away. If you're truly...
Well, then you should know how significant of numbers are of people who are detransitioning. People who transitioned and they're all fucked up and now they're trying to go back to their original gender because they're fucking miserable. There's a big population of people who are doing that. Type in detransition and you'll find thousands of videos of people who are trying to go back to their original gender. And the reason for that is because they were led down this path to make these decisions because that's what the culture was telling people.
Those aren't right people to start with, dude.
If somebody is denying what is reality, that's a mental disorder. If you're denying what's real, that's a mental disorder, isn't it? It's a delusion. This is what psychedelics have taught me, and journeying into spirituality. What it taught me was acceptance. Accept what is. Accept reality. Accept the truth. Is the truth important or not?
Yeah,
Do you agree that spiritually speaking, we are supposed to learn how to accept the truth of reality?
Absolutely.
So it's for that reason that I am against promoting transgenderism, because transgenderism is not about accepting what you are. It's about insisting that you're something else.
Gotcha. So let me put it this way so I can clear my fucking air on what I meant by that. I think it could be both. I think you're what you just said is exactly right, and I understand that. But I also think if they want to be transgender and they want to try to figure out.
But I agree with that much. If an individual wants to I don't care if you want to be the cat man and tattoo your entire body like a cat or like a lizard. I don't care about that. What I care about is normalizing that behavior in our society. Well, like, for example, if we started making a bunch of movies and TV shows about people who want to be cats, and we start telling kids that if they want to be cats, they can be cats because you could be whatever you want. So why don't you just grow up and be a cat? It's one thing for some weird people to grow up and decide they want to be a cat. It's another thing for adults to teach children that they should do that.
Are people that fucking weak that whatever people tell them, that's
Are you kidding me? Absolutely. 100%. Let me give you an example of that. You know, a lot of these people, what's really funny to me is all these people who are radicals. I think they're radical leftists, okay? Right. And they're super pacifists. They're atheists, so they reject Christianity and they reject Jesus. But they're pacifists without realizing that their pacifism comes directly from Western Judeo-Christian values. So even though they reject religion on the outside, it's so ingrained in them from growing up as a kid that you say, how influential is it? You could just make kids whoever you want. There's a famous quote from like a psychologist who says, give me a child and I'll create anything. I mean, look at the Islamic madrasas where they're teaching the kids to fucking hate Jews, and they're teaching kids to be like suicide bombers, and these kids grow up like with pride that they want to be suicide bombers. You're thinking like, well, at some point their human rationality should kick in and they should be like, fuck this, I'm not going to be a suicide bomber. But that doesn't happen. Right. They literally, you could brainwash anybody.
What I think, and you could just tell me I'm wrong, I think that you think most transgender people were not born that way, that they feel that they were somehow pushed in that direction.
I would say in the past 10 years, more people who identify as transgender were encouraged by society. If society had not pushed them towards that interpretation of their self, they wouldn't have.
Your fucking what's in your soul, though. You can't fight what your brain is telling you is in your soul. If you feel,
but if society is telling you that you must be transgender if you think A, B, and C, that's not your soul. That's society teaching you that. I was sitting in the movie, and there was like 3 girls. They had to be in middle school, sitting behind 2 rows behind us,
right?
And they were saying, "Oh my gosh!" So the other day, I had to come out to my parents and tell them that I'm non-binary. Oh my God, it was so terrible. And the other was like, no. Oh my God, did they accept you? No.
Are you serious?
Yes, dude. I'm trying to explain to you that what you are thinking is happening is the 2% of people in natural society throughout history who exhibit these traits. And what's actually happening is this explosion of like 20-30% of kids who are claiming to be non-binary or some other than ordinary gender, one of the 1,000 genders that they've created. Because there's a masculine and a feminine energy that's trying to come together in nature to create new life, naturally effeminate men will be attracted to masculinity because their feminine nature is trying to complete the circuit. Some effeminate men grow up and they're straight. Is it true that all effeminate men are gay, would you say?
No.
You can be born effeminate.
Yeah.
And that doesn't necessarily mean that you're gay.
Not at all.
But our culture tells you that effeminate men are gay. Wouldn't that encourage effeminate men to believe that they're gay? All of these liberals, they're all talking about gender is a social construct. Well, one thing that's for sure a social construct is our concept of gayness.
Right.
Okay? Homosexuality is a behavior. Gayness, it's a social construct that tells effeminate boys that they're supposed to like other boys.
Right.
If a little boy is effeminate, culture tells that little boy, you're gay.
I don't think so. I don't think it tells a little boy because a little boy at that age doesn't even fucking know what that is.
Oh, you just said at 4 years old, they're thinking about if they're boys or girls. So what are you talking about?
No, you're talking about what a child thinks of societies. A kid doesn't know what society thinks he should be at that age. He knows what he feels at that age.
Young boys who are effeminate know pretty early on that society calls them gay. They'll have bullies that call them gay.
Well, yeah,
you're gay,
okay.
you're gay, you're gay.
Okay, yeah.
Society is telling you you're supposed to be gay because you're effeminate.
Right, I got you.
Okay.
Don't you realize, though, at this point in time, any equation you want to put together for every type of sexual innuendo or sexual mishmash, it is happening. Like, any fucking scenario is taking place right now.
Yeah, I understand that, but I don't think that we should normalize that in our society. I believe that society should have ideals that we strive for.
But we do.
Okay, the question is, what are the ideals? Let me give you an example. Okay? In the 1950s, the ideal family was a husband and a wife and 2 kids, and the mom was at home cooking and the husband was out
But look
working.
how outdated that is.
Okay, that's not the point. What is the ideal family today?
Yeah, 2 men, 2 women, whatever it
Okay,
is.
so you just said it. We have now changed the ideal family to a homosexual family. The ideal man is Superman. I'm
really.
just giving, it doesn't matter.
Right.
It can be Batman. It can be He-Man when I was a kid. It's G.I.
But
Joe.
it could be a man who stays home and watches the kids while the wife works.
This is something that they're pushing for. They want parents to call kids babies instead of babies because they haven't expressed their gender yet to you. They haven't come
If you're
out.
going to sit here and tell me that that's like something happening in a society that a large group of fucking people are doing that, raising their kids that way, I'm going to be so fucking shocked.
In reality, there's 2% of people in the culture that's transgender. Do you agree that there are more trans kids in the past 10 years than there were in the 1940s?
I would have to say absolutely fucking yes. Even though I would not even know the statistics, I would say fuck yeah because you see it everywhere.
Okay, and why is that?
Because you see it everywhere. People think it's acceptable.
It's a fad.
I don't know. I don't think so. I think it's where we've evolved.
Okay,
we
so-
weren't allowed to do that. We weren't allowed to be like this in the 40s or 30s.
So there's a difference between transgenderism and transtrenderism.
Yeah, for
Okay?
sure.
Naturally, 2% of the population is transgender. Transgenderism is universal culturally. The Fa'afafini, they're like Samoan. These people have been trans for 1,000 years.
These people might not know so much about. The only thing that they might know is that they're gay or that they like boys or men. This might not even be anything about transgender. This might just be this is the only way they know how to express herself as a feminine.
Okay, but that's what I'm claiming that's all it is at all.
Okay.
The only natural thing is that there are men who are effeminate. Now, men who are effeminate will express that in different ways. Some will be attracted to men. Some will want to live as women. And our culture is what teaches them, oh, you're supposed to be gay. More straight men have tried sucking a dick because society is telling them that it's acceptable and they should try it.
Right.
Do you agree with that?
Probably, yeah.
Okay. It started simple.
But that's okay, right?
It started with simple things. Men should be okay. It's very funny because, yeah, in the individual things, of course it's okay. Only real men wear pink. Do you remember when that was going around in the 90s? Only real men wear
And
pink.
what did we think of it back then? You're still a fucking faggot. You're
Okay,
still
but the
wearing
thing
pink.
is, it's not like I care if men wear pink.
I do.
It's these slow incremental movements. Do you know when the gay rights movement first started, conservatives at the time said, no, listen, I know this sounds crazy, but eventually they're going to go after your kids. They're going to want your kids to be gay.
Yeah.
Liberals at the time said, no, you crazy conservatives. That's nuts. That'll never happen. Well, look where we are. They're teaching your kids about consent. They're teaching your kids to be gay. If it's a natural inclination and you're born that way, then it doesn't need to be taught.
Think about how fucked up we are as adults. And you expect a kid to be able to figure out what the fuck or why they think.
Well,
can't
we
even
shouldn't
figure
be
out when we're
asking
adults.
kids to figure this out at all. Part of the psychedelic process is revealing ego, revealing that this culturally created concept of ourselves is not really what we are. So the idea that people are actually what it just so happens to be that culture is talking about this 10 years is silly. No, you're not. If this same person was born in the 1930s or in 100 years from now or 1,000 years ago, they would have been different people who lived under different cultural circumstances and they would have lived different lives. Now, certainly a very small percentage of people are born on the opposite end of their energetic spectrum for their gender. So effeminate men or masculine women. But that's not the norm.
Yeah.
What we need to be doing in society is creating ideals. This is what the ideal man is like. This is what the ideal soldier is like. The ideal man is Superman. The ideal
soldier is G.I. Joe. The ideal woman.
Why do you think that's important?
Why is it important to create ideals?
Yeah. Why is it important to create a man as a G.I. Joe or as a fucking...
Well, you have to naturally... striving for ideals is mathematical. All of nature is striving to hit phi. Phi is the ideal. It's a transcendental number. It's an ideal that you'll never meet.
I got you.
So what is the ideal man? It doesn't have to be G.I. Joe, but let's talk about it. What is the ideal man? What should the ideal man be? Strong? Should the ideal man be strong?
Sure.
Okay. The ideal man should be strong.
Strong,
the
like
most
this way
whatever,
or mentally or what?
Okay, we could say in all ways. Okay, but the most strong man, the most ideal man would be the most strong man. The reason we draw Superman with big muscles is because the most ideal man would be a man with big muscles, because an ideal man would be strong and a strong man has muscles. Doesn't that make sense?
Maybe if you think muscles means you're strong.
Do muscles mean that you're physically strong?
Yeah, I get it. I'm just saying.
Well, do they?
Yeah, of course.
It's not what you think, it's what is, naturally. It's not about what you think, it's about what's objective.
Right.
Well, this is how I understand truth. If we're both looking at a cloud and I say the cloud looks like a cow and you say the cloud looks like a duck, then what is the truth?
Whatever it is you thought was what you wanted to believe, that's...
So you think the truth is whatever you want to believe. A lot of people today would say kind of what you just said.
I think there's different ways to gauge it. I think your truth is what you see and what your brain creates from that. So it could, you might be thinking you see something and believing that, but in reality, it might be something else. So your truth is what you see, because that's what I see. That's what I'm interpreting. That's my truth.
Yeah. So let me tell you how I understand it. The truth is what is and not what anybody thinks about it.
Yeah.
The truth is what is objective and not how you experience that objective thing. So if we're both staring at a cloud and I say it looks like a cow and you say it looks like a duck, the truth is the cloud. The truth is the thing that we are perceiving, the objectivity of the experience.
Well, think about it. If I said, yeah, I do see a duck and I do see a cow, then that would be like...
It doesn't matter.
Right.
The truth is not what you think
Right.
it looks like. The truth is that there's a cloud. The truth is the thing that you're perceiving. And how you perceive it is not the truth.
Right.
The truth is the object.
Right.
What you think about it is not true. So that's really a fundamental part of my whole premise here. If a man is born with a penis, what they are objectively is a man. And what you think you are is not what you are. You might think you're the cat man and tattoo your body as a cat.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean you're a cat. And I'm okay with you being the cat man.
Right.
I live in a free society and I want people to live in a society that allows them to be the cat man or to change gender.
Right.
But I don't want to pretend like that's what we as a people and a culture should strive for. I don't want to teach young kids in elementary school that that's the ideal. Does it hurt society to stop striving for ideals? What about body ideals? Should people have body ideals? Health ideals?
I think it's up to them. If you want to grow fat and ugly, and that's your choice, dude. But
You think that there's some people who actually want to be more unhealthy?
Yeah, I've seen people in videos that are fat that said, I love being fat. When I see a fucking 300-pound black lady sitting on the couch saying, man, I love to eat and I'm not giving up food because I don't even care because I love being fat.
Well, there's people who don't care enough to change.
Well, I'm just saying it's...
If you gave that person tomorrow, that black lady, you gave her a magic wand.
Yeah, and she can make herself skinny, she'd make herself skinny.
Okay.
Right.
So what does she actually want?
I don't really know.
So she might justify that she's fat and she wants to be that way, but if you gave her a magic wand, you're pretty sure she'd be skinny.
Sure.
Okay. So why is that? Because we all know the ideal. The ideal is natural. It's not arbitrary. The ideal man being a strong, mentally and physically stable, whatever other attributes, takes care of the family, works hard, provides for their children and wife. That ideal is natural. It's not arbitrary. Society just can't say, you know what? I think we should make the ideal man a man who takes it up the ass. I think we should just make the ideal man a man who is subservient to his wife.
And then they start making movies in which men are portrayed in that way to convince people that that's how men are supposed to be, so that men then act that out in their life and support it, even in the way that you are doing here. I mean, I don't care if you happen to be gay and you have a gay marriage and you have a kid.
Isn't that what we're here for, to love each other, no matter what?
Yeah, well, I do love people no matter what.
But would you date a transgender chick?
Look. In all fairness to the podcast here, if she totally passed as a woman,
and there's some that do, dude,
and her dick was smaller than mine, I might do it.
Yeah. Right.
I don't know. The thing is, I can usually tell they have to be really good.
No, I mean, I like watching. I think it's hot. I don't know. I think it's hot. But would I fuck one? I don't know. I don't know if I could get into it.
Here's another thing about it. There was a season of The Real World on MTV. So one of the people were trans.
How long ago was that?
A long time. When I was in high school. More than 9 years. I mean, I wasn't in high school for a long time.
Right.
I didn't know she was trans. Halfway through the season of the show, all of a sudden, that's the focal point of the show. You know, she comes out to the rest of the people in the house. And look, I'm transgender and blah, blah, blah. Even at that time, I thought you were a woman. And now the entire show is about that you are not a woman. You're a man, transgender woman. And I thought, what's the point of this? Is the point that you wanted to be a woman? Because if the point was you wanted to be a woman, you shouldn't have said you were trans.
Right.
Because I thought you were a woman.
Right. You would just say I'm a woman.
But it's not about that. It's about being this new special identity that they've created. It's an ego trip. If you want to talk about it spiritually, it's another identity to keep you tethered to the material world, to keep you oblivious of your true nature, which is transcendental of any identity that you attribute to yourself.
I can almost agree with you if it wasn't for the fact, and this is my strongest point as always, these kids go through fucking hell their whole life, bro. People picking on them and the struggle they go through, and they're constantly battling suicide because they don't know who the fuck they want to be. Who chooses that?
Let me make a last point about bullying, because we've been talking about, you know, when you see a kid who's acting out of the ordinary and then people are bullying that kid. Why does that happen?
We haven't evolved.
Is there a function beyond our comprehension that serves? You know, let me tell you something interesting, a story. When I was working on a farm in North Carolina, they had chickens. You know the phrase, the bottom of the pecking order?
Right.
That comes from chicken coops.
Right.
All of these chickens picked on one chicken. There was one chicken at the bottom of the pack, and it had no feathers. All the other chickens would peck on it, pull out the feathers. It was missing an eye. They would beat the shit out of it until it died. Eventually, we had to bury it.
Then they'd find another one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we said to the farmer, you know, well, should we remove this chicken? And he said, they'll just pick another one to be the bottom.
Yeah, might as well torture him as long as you can.
So, on the one hand, it's animalistic behavior that we should transcend.
That'd be a cute little story
This is the point. Is there a function to bullying? You know, what happened in the 1990s, we had a bunch of anti-bullying campaigns. And what happened? Kids became soft. We have now a society where people are pussies. You know? What happened? And those kids who got bullied, they grew up to be CEOs of major corporations. They built software and became billionaires. All of them became rich. Maybe that's how society keeps people in check. Let me tell you this. I saw a guy do a social experiment where he went onto a train or a subway and people were sitting down. He just walked up to them and he said, "Can I have your seat?" People would look at him like, what the fuck? There was a seat right next to him. He'd be like, "Can I have your seat?" They'd be like, "Can't you sit here?" And
right.
What he said at the end of the experiment was that what he noticed was how uncomfortable he was asking for their seat. Because this is like a law in our society that you don't ask somebody for their seat when they're sitting down, especially if there's a seat sitting next to them.
Right.
So society creates these rules, and it does it based on our feeling. We know it's wrong. The reason we know it's wrong is because it feels bad to ask somebody.
That's why.
Right.
No, it feels bad to be inappropriate.
Right. It's naturally wrong to do that, so we just don't do it.
But with the percentage of the population that people are trying to turn over, if they
Well,
are...
if you go from 2% transgender people without a campaign to turn straight people trans to 17% in the population now with a library mission where they bring drag queens in to teach kids about
So you're basically
transgenderism.
saying where the people are bringing in the kids, the transgender from the library, that's...
Let me-
telling me that that's
Yeah.
the start of something.
It's pushing an identity. It's pushing an identity onto
that's a
somebody.
very rare video, right?
No, it's not. That's commonplace in society today.
That's a common...
Yeah, schools all
Wow,
over the
dude.
country,
I
libraries
need
all
to
over
get
the
my
country.
shit together and fucking pay attention. I'm in shock.
It's serious what's happening, dude.
I don't know. I keep thinking of the transgender thing as more than just transgender. I see it as a acceptance of each other. That's what the world needs.
Wait a
and that's
minute,
how
wait a
I see
minute.
it, though.
I agree that we should accept insane people. Well, I accept that there are schizophrenic people. I love them. I don't have any hatred for them.
Right?
I accept that they're schizophrenic. I accept that they exist in society. I don't think they should be locked up. I don't think they should be mocked. I don't care if somebody makes a joke about them, but I don't think they should be harassed in public or second-class citizens or something like that.
Most of those people can't even control themselves. Though.
Okay, should we start putting schizophrenics in libraries teaching elementary kids about schizophrenia? No, we shouldn't. There's some things that aren't for kids. And the only reason that you would do that is if you were trying to normalize abnormal thinking processes. Some people are going to grow up and they're going to be schizophrenic and you let them.
Yep.
And you accept them when they are. Some kids are going to grow up and they're going to be transgender and you let them.
How about if all people were bisexual? Men, women.
Yeah, so I
cool.
think there's probably some validity to that. I think that probably early on in our evolution, we were probably orgiastic. That goes further with my concept that there's no real such thing as gayness, and gayness is a social construct in itself. If we're naturally orgiastic animals, then the concept of heterosexuality and homosexuality is these social constructs we've created, you
Right.
know, convincing you that there's a certain proper way to have sex. Okay. So people like sex, right? So people will fuck just about anything.
Yeah. I'll fuck that sex doll, dude. God damn. I would fuck that thing all night. How much do those things cost? Like 30,000?
Probably a lot of money.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never looked into buying one, to be honest.
They're so fucking, I bet it's like fucking a real chick. Probably even better, bro. Cause in the end, they're just not talking. And in the end, you just put them away. You only pull that doll out when you want a quickie.
Part of what's so good about sex is watching somebody else in ecstasy, and you're not getting that with a doll.
Right.
With
So that's
the doll,
why you do a quickie, dude. 2 minutes. I'm done.
Listen, did you hear about that guy who had this like sexual fetish that he wanted to eat somebody?
Yeah.
And he put out an ad for somebody who
Yeah.
wanted to be eaten.
Yeah.
And he met a guy.
Yeah. And the guy ate him.
He ate him.
Yeah. That guy got arrested as well for something else after, I believe.
He's free now. He tells the story.
Yeah.
I think there's a documentary.
Yeah. It's,
He chopped off the guy's penis while he was alive.
yeah.
And they tried to eat it raw.
Right.
And it was too chewy.
I mean, what the fuck? But back to my belief.
Okay,
If
well,
that's
this
what
is a
you
good
wanna
example.
do, dude.
Okay, this is a good example. So yeah, I agree. If you want to be eaten, I'm a libertarian, hardcore. If you want to be eaten as crazy as you fucking are, you find some guy who wants to eat somebody and jack off while he's doing it,
Right.
and you let him eat you.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't want you to teach that to my kids.
No.
It's ridiculous.
Make sure to like and subscribe for future ridiculously wrong content.
Please subscribe to our channel, please. We'll need you.
Banned from all stations nationwide. This show is coming to you underground. We're fucking kids. The world ravaged by lies and mistruths. Comes a show so fucking crazy. You almost can't believe it. Yeah.
Ridiculously Wrong Radio.
Until next week, motherfuckers.
What the fuck? Radio.
That's actually good. That one you just did.
Yeah.
I could probably use that.
Grab him by the pussy.